I'm ready. Thanks for accepting the idea.
Our interview for news, really. Where do you want her?
This one. That's one. Thank you for joining us, Madam Musisi, for this interview. On 6 February 2013, when you were taking over the job of KCC Executive Director, you described this city and made, I quote, as one that people would be embarrassed about, and you further added that it is stagnated and it's deteriorated and there was loot, plunder of resources and stealing of public funds. How far do you think you have gone in eradicating some of these things that you mentioned then?
We had to set up a new structure for the city administration with new job roles, job profiles, personal specifications. We had to draw up a strategic plan, 5-year strategic plan. We've now upgraded that. We now have a new one for the next 5 years. We had to draw up structures. We had to draw up structures to enhance revenue collection, to enhance financial management and accountability. The last 6 years, been able to grow revenue by about 178%.
In your first 4 years, you grew the revenue base of Kampala Capital City Authority from 30 billion to about 70 billion. It's now somewhere in the region of 83 to 84 billion shillings. But this falls way short of how much you spent, which is about 223 billion shillings. Your reliance on government, how are you planning to address that in the next 3 years?
First of all, government has constrained budgets because of the competing priorities countrywide. But as a capital city, we cannot fully rely on government grants because the grants are for specific projects and many times not adequate. So we have got to do a lot in terms of own source revenue, collecting our own money, and that's why I've said we've grown by about 178%. We started by making it efficient. We set up an electronic revenue management system so that people don't have to queue up in banks, fill a lot of papers, do a lot of stuff to get to pay us.
Still on that question of revenue, there's uncollected revenue of
yes.
77 billion, and largely through government and property rents.
Yes.
Are you going to be knocking on the doors of government asking for your money?
We already are. We have issued assessments to government departments. The PS Finance already issued instruction last year to all accounting officers to budget for KCC dues in their budgets, which I believe they've done. So we're going to be collecting that money.
Traffic congestion in the city is at its peak. The BBC describes Kampala as one of the most congested cities in the world. In fact, they say that it takes someone about an hour to get through 15 kilometers of road. And as the KCC ED, this is one of the things that is your mandate, to reduce the traffic congestion in the city. What are you doing about it?
I am trying to sort out the traffic congestion. Unfortunately, we cannot totally sort it. Again, for the reasons I've told you, the number of people that come into the city and then leave the city at the end of the day. That's where you have congestion. We are removing roundabouts, which are congestion points. We are replacing them with traffic signals. We are widening the junctions. We're also working with UNRWA to put a flyover system in parts of the city, clock tower to the Airtel roundabout. Things like the taxis, the borders are a big contributor. We don't have an efficient public transport system. The bus system is not what it should be. We are now looking for contractors to supply buses.
It was your suggestion that buses take over transport in the city. In fact, you did contract Pioneer Easy Buses to do the job. But Pioneer Easy Buses, when they were buying out of business, complained that there were no dedicated bus lanes. There were contractual breaches on the part of KCCA. How do you intend to address those, or how did you address those?
First of all, where are those buses? Pioneer started with, I think, 99 buses. I don't know if they have half that fleet on the road right now because they've been breaking down. They were, I think, eventually supposed to bring maybe over 300 buses, which didn't happen. Now, the creation of bus lanes is another issue. Whereas there was some agreement before we came, we can only do bus lanes in parts of the city. The other parts of the city we can't. And we've already agreed, and Pioneer knows that. But in addition, I think Pioneer has had other challenges outside KCCA, but we have advertised for the other routes, for other providers. And we're looking at performance. There's a deadline we've given them. If they don't deliver, we'll reopen it up for other providers. And the mass transport system is one of the major ways to decongest the city.
And the cable cars, you had actually planned to do the cable cars. You even did a feasibility study. How far has that gone?
The feasibility study is ready. We are now looking for financing. Yeah. So it is a viable project, but we need money to implement it. The bus rapid transport system like they have in Dar es Salaam, the feasibility studies are ready. We need money to implement them. These are very expensive infrastructure projects.